Hi, I'm Vera.
And I'm Slowly Spaghetti, and we like to go on cycling trips and have been doing so for over a dozen years.
In this video, we are picking up from where we left off in the last episode and sharing some of the memories we have on a trip we did in the summer of 2015.
After getting roasted by the inescapable heat, we had arrived in the Ardèche Canyon, where we spent the last 2 days slowly recalibrating to the warmer climate by shifting our regular sleep patterns and including a long siesta when the heat became almost unbearable.
This reduced the distances we covered because we could only cycle in the wee hours of the morning. But as it is the early bird that catches the worm, this turned out to be beneficial, as you will later find out. So let's show you where we went.
After setting out from the Ardèche River, we crossed the Rhône Valley and headed east into the Provence, north of the Luberon mountain range and branching off into further adjacent regions. We arrived at the Lac d'Esparron, marking a turning point for the next part of our trip.
We decided to break our account of this trip up into several episodes, so you can look forward to the next video with the continuation. As this part of our journey was already action-packed, we have enough in store for you now.
My grandfather was always full of praise whenever he got hold of a bottle of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, and the grapevines stretch out for as far as you can see. The castle sitting atop the hill was once one of the most important structures of its time. It was built in the 14th century for Pope John XXII and served the anti-Pope Clement VII as an escaped fortress. But as he was the last in the line of Avignon popes and power of the Catholic Church was re-centered back to Rome, the castle soon lost its purpose, and being oversized and thus too expensive to maintain, was left to crumble, with most of the stones becoming the material of what most of the village below is now made of.
Ah, but you will always remember Châteauneuf-du-Pape for another reason.
Yes, the beloved cicadas of the south. Loud enough to drive you insane, and the vegetation around here was infested with them, and they relentlessly continued their deafening mating calls up until the very last second of daylight, which was way after my bedtime, leaving me short on sleep, an autistic nightmare. After experiencing an ambush on my ears like that, I do wonder how people can have positive connotations with these beastly bugs.
This is where we met up with the Tour du Luberon, circling around the aforementioned mountain range. Part of it also doubles as the EuroVelo 8, and this portion leading a bit further than up is called the Véloroute du Luberon, named after the river that closely runs by, if it's not run dry, that is. And it follows one of the many former railway lines that used to service all corners of the country, but have now been converted to greenways.
However, the Tour du Luberon actually consists of many individual marked routes, although this is the only part with dedicated cycling infrastructure. You will soon see what makes this area so very attractive, but unfortunately it also attracts a lot of traffic in the tourist season, so I wouldn't recommend cycling here in summer if you're not a very confident cyclist. And even then, the amount of cars can be annoying at best, especially in combination with the afternoon heat. But we avoided most of the tourists because they usually like to have a long sleep in.
spent 2 nights in Abt, the commercial hub of the region with 11,000 inhabitants. Abt is a mecca for geologists and is even the name giver for a geological timescale called the Abtgen. We struck some luck with the lavender festivities taking place, leaving a lovely scent in the air and hinting that it was getting harvested. But thankfully, we passed many of the famous violet fields in full bloom. However, that wasn't the main reason we stopped here, for we were even more interested in discovering where the couleurs du terroir, literally colors of the earth, came from, meaning the many hues of ochre that were excavated nearby. So we branched off the following day and followed this path.
Getting up before the rooster crowed had been a fantastic idea, as we were the only souls present as we dived into this colourful world. This is one of the places where ochre had been mined, and it is easy to picture the parking lot full and people lining up to enter inside. But this was only a teaser of what we would yet encounter.
Further on, we came across a museum. Of course, with it still being 7:30 in the morning, it was shut. But then a car rolled up and the museum's director stepped out and opened up the gates for us. This was terrific, as we had everything to ourselves and could digest all the information of how the pigments were extracted and made into expensive paints appreciated by many famous artists, but also used for coloring the walls of the buildings, giving the villages their distinctive appearance.
But it was in Roussillon where the action really was. Well, at least as the intensity of the colours was concerned, because we had entered these mines first in line well before the masses had awoken.
enough impressions to knock slow 80 spaghetti out for the rest of the day. We continued the following morning towards the east until we met up with the Durance River, which we then crossed, leaving the Luberon region and heading up to the Lac d'Esparron. Planned this day out very well and had spent the afternoon climbing up a long hill on a busy road in the heat. So what a relief this river promised to be. I vigorously jumped into the water, but shot out at the same speed, startled by the freezing temperature. As I later found out, the crystal clear water was the runoff from the reservoir that was released from its base, which is why it's so cold. This is no comparison to the water at the surface of the lake, which I thoroughly enjoyed. We found a pitch for our tent overlooking the most stunning surroundings, and as the sun was beating down day in, day out, making cycling almost unbearable at times, we decided to stick around for a while.
In fact, we stayed put for a whole 6 days, but we didn't refrain from cycling completely and did 2 small round trips of the region before lounging around in the afternoon heat.
you can see the campsite that had been our home for almost a week. In the meantime, we had made arrangements to meet up with friends in Aix. So it was time for us to continue, and we hope you will join us again in the next video with many further highlights of this summer adventure, full of surprises.
So, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any.
And it was really fun making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please smash the like button.
So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye bye!